Hey everyone, hi again. It's Naomi Wolf greeting you for the second time today. Um, so the theme today is, we went from the amazing interview earlier today at Rabbi Manis Friedman's studio in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, talking about how to serve God, what God wants, how to love everybody, how to be of service to everybody. And here we are at the other end of the emotional and human spectrum, kind of dealing with demons. And I wish I had asked Rabbi Friedman more about people who hate and hatefulness and hatred, because I really want to understand this, but it's so real. Bottom line is, I'm going to talk to you today, and the wonderful Brian O'Shea is going to join us because this is In the Lair, in which we both appear. But I'm going to connect threats I received yesterday, which have really rattled me, to what happened in Kentucky with the defeat in a primary of Representative Tom Massie. They're not directly related, but I think they're indirectly related. And I'm going to go ahead, and the common theme is hate, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what I mean by that. So let's just go to my ex. Pardon me, I'm going to call something up and share it with you, and you'll see what I mean. So basically, there's a woman who has been threatening me for about 2 years. She gets especially upset when I appear on War Room, Steve Bannon's show, and I did appear on War Room a couple of days ago to talk about programs for immigrants at City University of New York. And she lives in Vancouver. Her name, believe it or not, is Michelle Titler. That's her real name. T-I, I'm sorry, Brian's kind of chortling in the kitchen. Tittler. I am doxing her because she certainly doxed me. I'm not giving her address, of course, but I'm giving her name. And I'm giving her name because she's very threatening. And she's threatening me not just as a public figure she doesn't like, but as a Jew she doesn't like. And her threats have gone from being kind of nasty and mean. And by the way, she is a dangerous person. There have been restraining orders against her in Canada from other people, going back to 2014, I believe. So I'm not the only person who's been targeted by her. But her, hate unchecked really does escalate. And violent hatred, if it's unchecked, really escalates. So she's gone from, saying mean things about me, mean things about my appearance, mean things about my affect, why do I have a platform, to really zeroing in on my ethnicity, and now escalating to execution, calls for my execution. Naomi Wolf should just go away. She needs to be executed. She needs the death penalty. She needs to go to Guantanamo where they can execute her. And the kind of fantasies of violence are becoming more and more graphic. Let me just show you what I mean. And she has this whole elaborate kind of scenario about me and the world of my cohort's CIA, Mossad, deep state operatives. So her post from yesterday or the day before is, "This evil slut needs to be executed." Naomi Wolf is a deep state whore. I'm sorry, every time I read that, I just have to laugh. I always think, I want that t-shirt. I want the deep state whore t-shirt. But anyway, who should be arrested for genocide for her participation in abortion. Her manipulation on Steve Bannon's War Room is acting concerned about babies dying from her cabal's vaccine, when no one ever sees her crying about the 60 million babies she actively, with her ideology, participated in aborting. All feminism is CIA. Naomi Wolf is entrenched in the child-raping pedo-Satanist cult. So that was the post that I pinned, and she goes on and on from there, but really zeroing in on, I'm a Mossad agent. I act for my warlords in Israel. I'm part of a Jewish cabal that is, runs everything, and they run the deep state. They run Trump. They run, everything that's happening, and it's because I'm a Mossad agent that I need to be executed, and because I'm working allegedly for Israel that I need to be executed and taken to Guantanamo. I'm a traitor, and so on. So that's pretty scary, and I had to, I get a lot of death threats, of course. It's how I met my husband in 2014, because I was getting death threats, and he made them go away. And I'm not going to say I'm used to getting death threats, but everyone who's a public figure doing anything of value probably gets threats these days. But Brian has taught me from his specialized training that, here, sweetheart, move in a little more, please, there we go. That when threats get more and more emotional and more specific, isn't that what you've said in the past?
Yeah.
They're more dangerous. So I had to get on the phone with the FBI and file a report. I had to file a report about Michelle Titler with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Vancouver.
And they went tits up on that job, let me just tell you. Those Canadians. I'm feeling safer already. Okay,
honey. And they advised me that I had to file a complaint here with my, American authorities in order to start an Interpol action to, just make sure that she can't come across the border to assassinate me, which is, what is happening actually with public figures these days who, very often if enough hatred is whipped up around a public figure, I don't need to mention the late Charlie Kirk or the multiple assassination attempts against President Trump, or, the assassination of the CEO of Health, what was it, honey? The CEO of the health insurance company, Brian Thompson. Those were kind of third parties. They weren't people who knew the targets personally. They were people whipped up by generalized social media hatred to take action. And, when Brian says what is likely to be a threat to me, he's less worried about someone who actually knows me and more concerned about a third party who may be kind of whipped up into a frenzy by a targeted sort of hate campaign, campaign calling for violence. So I try to be chill about these things, but honestly, I got rattled by Michelle Titler yesterday.
Yeah, why is it? Why?
Well, partly because you were not.
The Titler's been at it for a long time.
Partly because you were not physically nearby. I'm always less rattled.
You could kick the Titler's ass.
I don't want to kick the Titler's ass.
I kind of want you to.
Okay, well, you're a weird guy. But I guess because here's why. I'll tell you why I'm more rattled than usual. 2 or 3 years ago when she started this, and she started calling me a Mossad agent and a deep state whore, which, by the way, I'm not. There weren't Jews in New York under the leadership of an Islamist, terrorist-loving, First Lady of New York, terrorist-loving, claiming that rapes on October 7th were a hoax, First Lady of New York and Brooklyn, in which Jews are being assaulted on subways for looking Jewish, or a car driving into 770, Eastern Parkway, where Chabad is, not far away from where we're sitting, or, all the attacks, a phalanx of Muslim men praying outside a Jewish girls' school, which happened a couple of days ago, I think quite threateningly. I think there's no one would stop her, in Mamdani's New York, if she came across the border to find me.
Baby, no one will stop anyone in this city if they're going to commit a crime against anyone who's not Muslim.
Well, that's what's changed, and that's scary. It's scarier now. And if, God forbid, Michelle Titler were outside my door and I had to call NYPD, I'm not positive that NYPD, is given the mandate to respond to anti-Jewish hate crimes anymore, or crimes of violence based on anti-Jewish hatred. I'm not. So for all those reasons, yeah, I'm more rattled than usual. And also, I just think, I don't think I'm unusual in this regard.
No.
I'm very strong and stoic, and Brian keeps me very safe, and he's a murderous thug if anyone tries to mess with me.
I'm not a murderous thug.
Yes, you are, baby. Why don't you say you are?
I'm not a murderer, because that doesn't keep a thug. What is a thug?
Okay. Well, he's very scary.
I'm
but
not scary.
Okay, you can be scary. I've seen you be scary. Okay.
Yeah.
All that being said.
I'm gonna have like a million challenges after. I'll show you scary.
Okay.
I'll have a bunch of Massie people coming
I'm
at
just
me
trying to
going,
deter
American
people.
right, we're gonna kill you.
We'll get to the American right. But I'm trying to deter people from threatening me.
That doesn't do it.
Oh,
You know
what
what deters
doesn't?
people
No.
from trying to kill you?
What?
Killing them.
All right.
I'm not being funny. I mean, seriously, like, okay, let me talk about stalkers.
Please.
Okay, because this is exactly the same type of mentality in all seriousness.
Can
Let
I
me
just finish one sentence?
Sure,
And then talk
it's
about
your
stuff?
show.
Well, it's our show. It's in the lair, baby.
It's in the lair.
It's in the lair.
I've got to do a show on Titler.
Okay. Well, this
You
is our
got to tell
show.
them too about the FBI guy kind of laughing.
Okay, I will. But I guess all I was going to say is I don't think I'm unusual in that I can be very strong, very strong, very strong, and then at a certain point, it's just one death threat too many. Like
Oh,
it just is.
I'm
Like
sure it
that
gets
people
tiresome.
are not designed to open their phone and see someone in public calling for your execution again and again and again and again in all kinds of fantastical, more and more detailed ways. And the other thing that's happening, honey, is she's more and more whipping people up.
Is she though? Does she have a following?
Well, that's not my point.
Okay.
You've taught me this, that if
Mm.
you just say, hey, go kill Charlie Kirk, people are like, what are you? You're crazy. But if you say, if you kill Charlie Kirk, you're saving democracy,
Right.
and that's where she's at. She's like, oh, you can save 600,000 babies by just taking out Naomi Wolf, right? Or, Israel's running America, just take out Naomi Wolf, right? Like this is now a mission, right? So I do feel more targeted. Go ahead, sweetheart. What were you going
And
to
just
say
so you guys know, our air
stalkers?
conditioner is broken on this floor, so we have a bunch of fans. So that's why
They're all out
sweating.
there. They love us.
I'm
We love
dying.
them.
I'm in hell.
Okay.
So anyways,
Stalkers.
stalkers, thank you. Yeah, so really the whole mentality of the stalkers, and it's the same mentality, is they whip people. They tend to, like if they're talking and being very public, then you're okay. But it's when they disappear and they start, I don't want to give out advice to stalkers, but let me put it this way. I had a case when I met Naomi, who's a famous choreographer, and she had a huge stalking case that even was in Glamour magazine. And what her stalker did was, first he started sending her poetry and all this weird stuff. And then the stalker started showing up at events. And then the stalker was leaving notes. And then eventually the police told her, well, you should change your schedule. But that's the wrong thing to do, because a stalker, one of the first steps is to isolate you. Once they and they do that many ways, by getting you to stop going out, canceling public events if you're a public figure, but also by calling your friends and saying things about you to make them hate you. They're trying to get you alone, and that's the point where you have to really take it seriously, and you have to meet it offensively. Okay, so Naomi had a stalker when I met her, she had a few, but she had one at a college she was teaching at. And she said, what should I do? I said, well, I'll just go there and, make them go away. And I did. And, it was a little weirdo, but he was like just following her around. So I started following him around. And then he didn't know what to do. And then I pretty
Love
much
that.
leaned forward, and while he was just staring at her while she's presenting, and I said, I'm the guy that's going to kill you.
You said that.
Yeah.
That's so illegal.
No, it's not. Statutes run out. But
You've never told me you said that.
yeah, and then you saw that I let, because everyone's looking like, what do
I
we
shouldn't
do?
be smiling.
And the thing is, all you have to do to these people is hurt them physically. Okay?
That's also
Don't
illegal.
put them in the hot, but not if you don't get caught. Because look, that's the world we're living in right now. If you try to defend yourself, if a person comes to your door, okay, and I'm not advocating for breaking law, I'm just saying the number one priority for anyone who's a victim of a stalker or online stalker like you have, if it crosses into the physical threshold of like going to your college lecture, then you have to do something about it. The police will not do anything about it. One
Yeah.
thing about stalkers is they study and research everything about their victim, but they also study and research everything about the local laws. So they always stay outside of the, if they basically, what do you call that? They put up, if the police issue I always forget the name of it. The order. Restraining order. They will literally sit outside, 1 foot outside that restraining order, staring at your house.
Oh gosh.
And the best thing we came up with is the first thing you do if you have a stalker, especially ladies out there. If it's men, they normally don't, because if they're guys like me, they're going to get their buddies and go beat the hell out of that stalker. That's going to be the end of it. But ladies, they don't want people to know because they don't want their friends to think they're dangerous to be around. So they isolate themselves. And you have to make it a group event. Because trust me, I know you ladies out there, you're 92% of the investigation discovery audience. You like investigating things and you like taking down the bad guys.
We do.
Get a group of them together and stalk them back. Hire a couple security people if you need them. If you don't have any training and you want to be safe, stalk them back. If they go to get milk, seriously, if they go to, we do this is how we did a great stalking business.
I love
They
it.
go to get milk.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, that's why I had the Brits with me. We'd rent SUVs, and we got the idea from Napoleon Dynamite. I'm not kidding you. Some of the best ideas you get in a consulting business, you got to be creative. And I had a few ex-cops working for me, and they really didn't know what to do because they were still thinking in that rules and regulations mentality. And so me and my buddy Raphael were watching Napoleon Dynamite, at the office, and he goes, "That's how we should deal with the stalker." And that's the part when Pedro's cousins, who are some gangbangers, pull up to the bully who's stealing some kid's bike, and they're lowrider, and they just look at him and they go, and the kid runs away. So everywhere the stalker went, we were there with them. If they went anywhere, we were there. One guy even went to the movie theater. We brought 5 guys in and we sat around him and behind him.
I love it.
They never leave their house again. Stalk them back.
I love that.
And if you're in Canada right now, you know where Titler is. You could go to my tweets. I left her address a few months ago.
Oh, no, baby.
Stalk her back.
Baby,
for
we
me.
can't break any laws.
Okay, you can't. But
No, you can't either.
It's Canada.
Baby, no laws.
I can't even go to Canada.
Don't
I'm barred from Canada.
look up this woman's address, honey. No.
It's already out there.
Baby, no.
I put it out
Illegal.
there. Okay. It's not illegal.
It's illegal.
It's not illegal. It's not illegal.
No, but honey, God forbid.
Doxing is not illegal.
Okay, well, I'm not comfortable with it.
Well, it's out there now.
Don't do anything bad to my
Hey,
stalker.
look, the point is, you're seeing this right here. This is a kind of one of these conscience things. Was it Shakespeare that said, "Conscience makes cowards of us all, and I'm not calling you a coward"?
Yes.
But your first priority is protecting your life. Don't,
Yes.
as Dan Bongino had said, don't get dead. Don't
Yeah.
think about, as you're protecting yourself, if someone shows up at your door, like Naomi said, don't think about, well, I should do something, but I'll get in trouble. I think it was Michael Asante, whoever wrote The Gift of Fear, the CEO of Mosaic, great security team.
That's not who wrote the gift.
No, it was not Michael Asante. It's,
It's that other guy.
yeah, I know you're talking. Gavin DeBecker.
Gavin DeBecker.
But in the beginning of that book, he talks about how many victims there are of rape and murder. And the ones that live, they tell these accounts of, well, I saw these guys coming up on my side of the street. There were people of a different race. So I didn't want to offend anyone by crossing the street. But had they just crossed the street, they wouldn't have put themselves in the crosshairs. Not blaming the victim. But what happened there is these victims were listening. They could hear their senses warning them. And of all your senses, when you get butterflies or something, kind of warns you, that sixth sense, as people call it. It's not a sixth sense. It's not psychic. It's just that the pattern in your environment, which you have naturally baselined over years of walking that route, suddenly something's different in the air. Something smells different, looks different, hears, sounds different, tastes different, feels different. And if one of those things is off from the normal baseline pattern, then your body will send an alert to you. It's going to start giving you butterflies. What are those butterflies? Those butterflies are adrenaline. It's getting you ready to vomit or clean out your bowels so you can run really fast or fight really hard. Listen to it. That's what I'm saying. So do not, if you find yourself in a situation, I'm not around, when the Titler shows up here, do what you have to do to make her not a threat anymore.
Well, don't do anything.
Don't even think about illegal or legal.
Don't even think.
Don't think about illegal or legal. If she shows up at your door and she's intent on killing you,
well, that is
it's you
legit.
or her. Plain and simple. That's it.
Fine.
You or her.
Yeah, well, could it be, if you're talking about this sixth sense or this intuition, couldn't it be that I'm particularly nervous about, here we are. Can I just read one more?
Sure.
That I'm nervous about her because I sense that could be gearing up to cross into violence. Like, that could be something that I'm feeling. Bannon, this is Michelle Titler one day ago. Bannon, you were told to get rid of this lying Israeli whore on your show. You chose not to. She is a liar, and she thinks she is allowed to conspire with Israel to do COVID and everything else evil and still be allowed to walk around free. That is not happening. And she did an infographic of all the ways I'm CIA and Mossad. Her job is to lie to you and blame you. Here we go. You are obviously raping children too, like that degenerate, perverted slut, Jezebel whore. I want all the t-shirts. Naomi Wolf, who must be arrested for crimes against humanity. That slut is a genocidal terrorist lying for Israel like the psychopath baby killer she is. Israel did all of it.
She's kind of
Arrest
mixing like some
Naomi Wolf. She's mushing them all
tropes
together.
there, like some anti-Vietnam tropes, and it's kind of funny how stupid people
honey,
hash things together.
Talk about this, Naomi Wolf on Bannon's War Room. Talk about what Jews get, what Israel gets. Yes, arrest that child-raping, pedophile, Satanist, cunt, Naomi Wolf. I don't want that t-shirt.
So you know what's going on.
She rapes, tortures, and cannibalizes children. She's in on the whole COVID genocide. That evil cunt is a genocidal terrorist. Arrest Naomi Wolf for crimes against humanity. She's shilling and killing for Israel. See, it's ramping up.
It's something to pay attention to. The person I think needs to pay attention to it, honestly, is Steve Bannon. And here's why.
Right.
Because every time you go on his show, she gets triggered. Here's what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm listening.
Here's what's happening.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I know,
she
but
put out
it's
like
that she
20
no,
posts.
but you don't follow them every time. She does this every time. I watch for the escalation. It's not escalated. She goes on Bannon. Titler gets crazy because she's in love with Steve Bannon in her weird mind. So picture Titler. She's home listening to Madame Butterfly. Picking at the side of her dress with her butcher knife.
Stop.
Boiling her neighbor's pet bunnies. And then Bannon comes on. She's like, Steve. And then all of a sudden Naomi pops on there. She's like, oh. And she used to start dancing and do all this weird stuff. But the thing about Titler is that she's got this big old crush on Banny Boy, and, you trigger her. She thinks you're in the way of their love.
Okay, well, that's a truly psychopathic.
That's a typical stalker mind, right?
That is
there.
A typical stalker mind. It's called erotomania. Right?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing about it is, she'll find what will happen is they usually shift to a different target. Eventually, something will happen to disrupt it. So with stalkers, you can never get them to stop stalking. You just have to redirect them. So like maybe something will happen. Steve Bannon moves to Micronesia and never broadcasts again. She'll find someone else. Okay, she'll definitely find someone else. Who knows? It could be any of the Real America's Voice people.
Right.
We just don't know.
God forbid.
And then it'll be some other woman that appears on the show too much that Titler hates. And look, I bear some responsibility because I was definitely messing with her on the last one. But she was at Naomi all day long. So I said, in a hearty good morning to Ms. Titler, my wife's online stalker, angry, loner, anti-Semite, and one in much need of a hug. Come on, madam. I have a hug just for you. So
That's really sweet. That's really sweet.
And so then she came back with blocking me.
Okay.
And I said,
Well-
that's not very yeah. Then she blocked me, and I said, that's not very sporting of you.
Okay, well, let's not taunt Ms.
I mean, look, the
Titler.
thing is, no, let's taunt her, because, look, Titler, here's the message for you. I have a little fun with this. I don't see you as a threat, but if I see you, I'm going to assume you are a threat, and then no one will ever have to see you again.
Okay,
and that's
let's
just
leave,
how that
let's
works.
leave that there.
Okay, and the beauty of New York, I'll wait till a snowstorm, and
Stop,
when the
baby,
piles
stop,
of snow
stop,
thaw
stop,
out,
stop.
maybe
La,
then
la, 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 la,
they'll
la,
find
la,
a
la,
lump
la,
of
la,
rat
la,
food
la,
that
la,
used to
la.
be you.
Baby, no, we can't
What?
make threats of violence. We
You
can't.
just told me to scare her. What do you
I-
want? Can't have it all.
No threats of violence.
That wasn't a threat of violence. Just talking about logistics.
Okay, baby. Well, let's move on.
Titler.
We've covered that. Anyway, so that the theme there is anti-Semitism. So now let's go to something that affects everybody and not just me and my stalker. And of course, let's look at what happened in
Do you want to give
Kentucky.
some context
Yes,
of
baby.
the campaign and all that?
Which I just pulled up.
Okay. Just double checking.
So U.S. Representative Thomas Massie lost Kentucky, the GOP primary, to Ed Galrain in another victory for Trump. This is Hebron, Kentucky. This is Associated Press. Representative Thomas Massie lost the primary, becoming the latest Republican lawmaker to anger President Donald Trump and then fall to a primary challenger backed by the president. So he got primaried. Other Republicans have been defeated by Trump-endorsed challengers, including Senator Bill Cassidy in Louisiana and several Indiana state senators who defied him on redistricting. Massie was one of the most outspoken holdouts. He pushed for the release of the Epstein files, criticized sustainedly the war in Iran, and voted against the president's tax legislation. And he tried to convince voters that they could be for both him and Trump. And this is his concession speech. He said, "We stirred up something. There's a yearning in this country for someone who will vote for principles over party." And he signed off about teasing a run for president in 2028, saying we'll talk about it later. So Galrain is in, Massie is out, and that's how this was covered by legacy media. So what those of us in MAGA land know, and in some ways I'm very sorry to see him go, because he had some great bills, and he was America's first in a lot of ways, and some of his bills, like he had a bill to allow farmers to slaughter their own livestock on their own property, which seems like, a basic American right if you're a farmer. But he pointed out, and I learned from him, I actually did a feature on this for Daily Clout, that currently you have to ship your livestock to often foreign-owned processing plants that can be like in another state. You're not allowed to just butcher your own animals and sell them to your neighbor or at a farmer's market. So that seems crazy. He had really good bills for more sustainable farming, and and he was an outspoken independent voice. But something really ugly was happening for the last I would say 6 months, and Brian has done a lot of amazing reporting about this, and I'll just call up some images, and then Brian can tell us about where the money came from. So this.
Well, I don't know where the money came
Well,
from.
you can tell us about the background of the Dugan flow that you found.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you all can see my screen, I'm really truly shocked by this. A bunch of MAGA influencers went down to Kentucky to Representative Massie's house, and one of them is a guy named Ryan Matta. And I actually almost met Ryan Matta once because he almost stayed at our house in Brooklyn, or at least visited, but chose not to for whatever reason. He's friends with our friend J.J. Carroll,
Right.
with whom
Yeah,
I've also
he
had
shot
an
his
argument.
documentary.
Right, shot his documentary. We've also had an argument about anti-Semitism. I love J.J. Carroll generally, but the whole anti-Semitism thing makes my head hurt. So, and as you know, some of my dear friends in the MAGA movement are going into paroxysms of anti-Semitism. And I'm not talking about criticizing Israel. I'm talking about actual, it's the Jews, neo-Nazi anti-Semitism. So here's Ryan Matta wearing a T-shirt that, if you look closely at it, says American Reich. American Reich. I don't mean to condescend by explaining the echoes or resonance of the word Reich. It's German. It means empire, and it comes from the Third Reich, which is the Nazi empire, basically the 1,000-year Reich planned by Adolf Hitler. It's not like some random German word. It's not like it didn't apply to World War I. It didn't apply to, the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's literally a word associated by Hitler and Goebbels with Nazi dominance projected for 1,000 years. And you see that they took an American eagle and turned the American eagle in such a way as to resemble the Nazi symbol, which is also an eagle, but a more stylized, schematized eagle that is also kind of splayed out like that. And American Reich, that means American Nazism. That's what that means. There's no equivocating about that. And so he did that.
30 deep, the Thomas Massie's house. That's just 30 deep.
Let's
We
hear
let
it.
Ryan Matta. Show me one other politician in Washington, D.C. that's going to let Ryan Matta get even talking distance. Oh, we actually have a politician, and I'll show you the man that you should put in office. It's fucking crazy, right? Got David Riley here, too. Bobby Sauce, to say the least. Bobby's got he's cooking on social media like the rest of us. I think we all are, but, I give you guys the unfiltered, no political bullshit viewpoints, so. And we're in Thomas Massie's house, which is that.
So that's Ryan Matta in Thomas Massie's house. And what else was Ryan Matta wearing? Well, let me give you the...
Hey, this new microphone. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but I hear it kind of matches my necklace. I was just curious. I hear it kind of
That's from Laura Luna.
my necklace.
Okay, you can't hear
I want
that.
you guys thought
There
of
we
that
go.
microphone.
It's low. He's
So one of my
pointing
best
out...
friends just got me this new microphone. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but I hear it kind of matches my necklace. I was just curious.
Baby.
There.
Okay, but there's another
No,
close-up.
I just want to pause it so people can see the swastika.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a
Not just
better
an iron
picture of
cross.
it. So there's a picture that you can see right there. And if you look just a little bit closely, right in the center, there's a swastika. It's an iron cross, which is also happens to be a World War I German symbol. But that wasn't enough for Ryan Matta. He had to put the swastika in the cross.
Didn't they have iron crosses in the Nazi army?
The Nazi army also had iron crosses, yes. Had to put the swastika in the cross. Had to put the swastika in the cross. So there's also sweatshirts and T-shirts that he's wearing that extend that logo, American Reich, and a hat. And so that's Ryan Matta at Representative Massie's house. Now, a lot of other commentators in the kind of MAGA sphere, but the kind of, Brian's going to explain, Dugan-aligned MAGA sphere, were there, and I can't speak to their views if I don't see the anti-Semitism right in front of me. But I'm shocked. I am shocked that Thomas Massie would have posed in front of let a picture be taken, like where was his staff, standing next to someone who's wearing an American neo-Nazi sweatshirt, American Reich. It says it boldly, let alone someone who, has a cross with a swastika in it that he's proudly displaying on social media. So I will stop talking in 30 seconds, but Brian and I were, discussing this and discussing Massie's loss. And I think we both feel, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I certainly feel that this hatred, this Islamist, Marxist, Red-Green Alliance hatred in New York is one side of the same coin of the MAGA, Dugan-aligned hatred in Kentucky, and it is not American. This is not how America works. This is not what Americans like. This is not what Kentucky, Kentuckyites aren't Nazis, the kind of majority you need to win a primary aren't Nazis. They're not. They may have their own, biases and prejudices, as everyone does, but they're not American Nazis. They don't relate to American Nazis, just like, the South didn't like carpetbaggers from the North coming down and telling them what to do. They're not going to like Northern neo-Nazis coming down, to a primary that they're not voting in because they're not Kentuckyites, telling them, oh, hey, neo-Nazism is cool. Neo-Nazism isn't cool, and it isn't American. It's not indigenous to us. We don't relate to it. It's not how our system works. Even if you're a kind of Southern redneck, you're not likely to be an actual neo-Nazi who wants an American Reich. That's not a message that's going to play well in Kentucky, on the left or on the right. And so I think that hateful message contributed to Massie's loss. Who wants that, right? Who wants that division? It has nothing to do with issues in Kentucky. It has nothing to do with the economy. It has nothing to do with schools or infrastructure or health care, the price of gas. Nothing. All it does is whip up medieval hatreds and as Dan Bongino rightly said, 1940s era hatreds. From Europe that don't belong in the United States of America, and Americans recognize that. Whatever their background, whatever their flaws and imperfections, Americans are not Nazis by a majority. They don't like Nazis. Nazis don't speak for them, and I think the hatred didn't fly. What's your view?
Well, my view is yes, of course the hatred didn't fly, because I used to live in Kentucky, and Kentucky is just like Maine or any other place these days. These are not different worlds. But it's very interesting that I was watching Ryan Matta on his live stream. Sorry, these are my notes, darling, and I need these.
Okay.
I need these.
Okay.
Don't think you control my world, Israel. See? Mossad. Doesn't want me to get my learn on. So anyways, what I was watching was confusion.
On Massie's part?
Well, of the people waiting in line in the footage I saw, where
What do you mean waiting in line?
to vote in the primaries. So typically, people who are voting on a Tuesday, they tend to be baby boomers or older. They tend not to be online a lot on social media, and it seems like Massie put a lot of his eggs in the online social media basket. So when Matt was going up, people were very nice to him, and he was very nice to them. He wasn't wearing his Reich shirt.
He wasn't wearing his Reich shirt. Was he
No.
wearing his Nazi cross?
No.
Okay.
And so he's just going up, and he was electioneering, in my opinion. And I put out a tweet, to the Attorney General, because they hadn't voted yet, and he's telling them oh, what do you think of Massie? Yeah, he's great. What do you think of a Ro Khanna ticket in Massie for the next election? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, you're in Kentucky.
Right.
Ro Khanna, are you out of your mind? But it seems
He's a Democrat.
I know.
No, we're sharing it.
He's a Democrat. And so the thing is, it's also a very tunnel vision thing where the Massie camp almost completely focused on Israel being the agent of all their problems, like we've seen many other people do in history, and also the Epstein files. Now, again, I lived in Kentucky. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, so I lived in Hopkinsville.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. And I rolled my eyes because I hate when people say that just because I got paid.
Yeah, but you serve the country.
Right, but
Take the compliment.
Okay, I'll take it. So I think most soldiers we feel a little awkward. But anyways, they seemed a little confused. Ryan Matta goes, this one guy is probably about my age, and he's like, yeah, so which way, so would you vote for that ticket? And he's like, well, I don't know. It really depends who else is on the ballot. Mm-hmm. He's like, right, but that'd be a good one. He goes, I guess we'll see. He was really, but it seems like the Massie camp thought they knew their audience and didn't know their audience. Whereas the Ed, I can never pronounce his last name because I didn't know.
The opponent, Gil Reed.
Gilrain.
Gilrain.
They put an unprecedented amount of money into it, and yes, money came from AIPAC and many other PACs, but the point is, they did the mailers. They did Fox News. They did the things they know, the demographic that's going to come out and, take them across the finish line. They know they're watching Fox News. They know that they're going to actually look at their mail. These are the people that still send checks to pay their bills. They knew that. They had the signs everywhere. They did the old school type of heavily funded campaigning. And I just feel like you have all these out-of-towners descend on Massie's kind of palatial house. I mean,
it was kind of palatial.
It's really nice.
For a humble farmer.
For a humble farmer, And the thing is, it's like, I just don't, I didn't see the connection happening with, I think honestly, some of the interviews I saw with Matta, like, I think they felt like, what is this guy trying to sell me? And these are, I don't like saying salt of the earth, but these are just typical Americans down there.
Well, am I right that the average Kentuckian is not a Nazi? Is not going to be like
the average American is not a Nazi.
Right.
It's like.
But even in the Deep South, like the North likes to hate on the Deep South, but there's no reason to
First of all, the Deep South is like heavily black. I lived in Georgia, I lived in Tennessee, I lived in Kentucky.
That's not a message that will resonate well with the black community.
Not to mention you'll lose your damn job. This is not like the 1960s, This isn't Mississippi burning where the judge is going to be like, well, I understand you boys. You got a lot of angst against him. You got all these I get you boys. 2 weeks of community service. No, God no. And so the thing is, it's like, I feel like the Massie out-of-towners, the Mattas, the whoever hell else went down there, because I honestly don't recognize really any of them because they all kind of look the same to me, like little...
No, don't.
Okay. So, but what I saw was confusion of the voters, like, who the hell are these people? And I honestly think, had Massie just run a traditional campaign, because they make it sound like he was just... rubbing 2 pennies together or 2 dimes together, whatever they say, and trying to make the best of a campaign. He still had a lot of money, and he has a lot of money. So the thing is, had he just done the good old knocking on doors, putting up yard signs, I think he would have done fine.
But don't you think that, if people were exposed online, because some voters were, to the hatred coming out of the MAGA hate subculture, they would have been put off in Kentucky? Seriously?
Without a doubt. So like the early voting occurred mainly by the younger generations, okay? And undoubtedly parents are going to say, oh, I didn't know you were so interested in a primary. Well, yeah, I was watching Ryan Matta, and he seems like he makes a lot of sense, And then they're probably showing their parents his iron Nazi cross, and they're like, whoa, what, this is Massie's guy? Yeah, no, honey, we need to talk about who we're voting for. Right. I mean, look, he lost by north of 10 points as an incumbent.
Wow.
I mean, it's hard to lose as an incumbent at all.
Can I ask kind of a deeper
in a primary,
a deeper follow-up question about that and about the South? I mean, and then I want to get to Dugan because this relates directly to Dugan. Right. There's a lot of fundamentalist and evangelical churches in Kentucky, right? And they love Israel, and they're not going to be receptive, and they love Jews, and they're not going to be. They do.
My mom's one of them.
I know. I have met Southern Christian evangelicals. The minute you say you're Jewish, it's like big hugs, big hugs. They are not going to be receptive to people trying to split that Jewish evangelical Christian alliance.
No, they're not. And look, if you listen to most of these people, I'd say I don't want to say percentages, because as we always say, 98% of all statistics are made up on the spot. But the point is, like, they know their Bible too.
Yeah.
Like whether it's the King James Bible or whatever. But the people that I used to hang with down south, especially people that are very active in their Christian community, whatever church you go to, they know their Bible, not just the New Testament, they know their Old Testament.
Yeah.
And when I see these people online, the influencers, they almost sound like Zoolander when they're like quoting the Bible. Like they read
Yeah.
some cliff notes on
Right.
the way to the studio,
Totally.
and they're like, "Oh, do you know the Jews were trying to take over the world? They found this ancient text called the Scrolls of the Elders of Zion or whatever it is, you know." And it's like
Cannot believe they're recycling
they're
that
still recycling it.
100 years
Look,
ago
tell
that
me
was
if this. I
debunked.
wanted to get to this because this is important, and then I will give you the mic back. Okay,
Yeah.
so you know
Some
what-
of our good friends are here, by the way. Autumn Smith, Rose
Hey, Autumn.
Kelleher,
Hey,
and
Rose.
Netta Slaby in Japan.
But where is Titler?
Stop.
Hitler.
Stop
Um,
it.
Sounds like Hitler. So this is just the the Grok summary, but let me
Maybe
read
can
it.
you lower your thing so
Nope.
we can
No,
see
no,
how
no,
handsome
because I
you are.
got to lose like 20 pounds. So.
You're perfect.
Okay, my mom thinks I'm perfect. So this is really interesting. It's like, so you think about like everything you're seeing in today's anti-Semitism in the United States is pure Russian from the get-go. What do we got?
Oh, hi. She's awesome. Una Treen,
Oh, I
Eric
love
Arthur,
her. She's great.
Arthur
Yes,
Blair's
and she
mistress.
actually just published an article. Una, send that to me. I'll tweet it out. I haven't read it yet, but she got a big article published in a very cool publication.
She's the one who identified
Oh, Donnie.
the
She's
dancing nurses as Chinese.
she's one of my
choreography.
normal investigate everything people from Hawaii.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
And I love the fact that I know who Eric Arthur Blair is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
Do you know
don't-
who it is?
No.
1984.
I'm just a simple country boy, baby.
Okay, keep going.
1984, the year?
The author.
There's an author named 1984?
Keep going.
Okay.
Animal Farm. George Orwell.
Is he?
Eric
Did he play
Arthur
the pig?
Blair.
Did he play the pig?
Stop. It's the pseudonym.
I know.
Okay.
I know who George Orwell is.
Okay. Well, he's Eric Arthur Blair. That's his
I didn't
real
know
name.
he had a pseudonym, though.
No,
Okay.
George Orwell is the pseudonym.
Oh, really?
It's like who's on first? Yes.
Huh.
Is that correct?
No wonder I couldn't find
Una
him in
Treen?
those. No wonder I couldn't find his records in the Spanish Civil War archives.
Oh, interesting. You
Mhm.
thought you had a big story.
I did. He fought on the side of the communists, unfortunately, but different story. So, anyways, you're seeing all this. This is I've done a lot of research on this, but it's the same. Look, when you see things so well organized, they always have historical precedent. Okay, so even longer than the Germans, the Russians have been at this for a long time.
What is this?
This type of pogrom
Mm-hmm.
against Jews. So, when you're talking about like a pogrom, it's almost like a state-sponsored group or mass hatred, right, against Jews. How would you define it?
A pogrom
Yeah,
is
pogrom.
usually physical. It's a wave of attacks by Cossacks against Jewish villages that wipe them out.
Well, according to Iraq, it's simpler than that. It's just like state-sponsored hate. Like, go get them, we won't do anything.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So, systemic scapegoating was executed through several. So, throughout history with Russia, there's three major ways they would scapegoat, and they'd always use the Jews for other political reasons, and we'll get to why they're doing it now. Following the assassination, this sounds exactly to me. Tell me what this reminds you of. Okay, we'll deal with those later.
Okay.
I need your attention.
I'm fully attending.
I need the classroom's eyes
All right.
here, eyeballs here.
Okay. Yes, baby.
Okay.
I'm
Following
listening.
the assassination of Tsar Alexander II in 1881, the Tsarist regime actively spread rumors that the Jews were responsible for the plot. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
The tactic: secret police and right-wing nationalist groups like the Black Hundreds organized or turned a blind eye to violent riots and massacres, pogroms, against Jewish communities.
Right. That's when a lot of our ancestors
Yeah.
came to America.
They're from Romania. The goal: to direct the anger of the impoverished, struggling peasants and workers away from the government
right.
and onto a minority population. So,
Right.
would that be Trump doing that, or would that be the Democrats doing that? Because they're kind of the reason we're in a pretty bad financial predicament. Or would that be someone else trying to stir up stuff?
Right.
So, number two, the Pale of Settlement and the legal segregation. The restrictions to contain Jewish populations and isolate them from the broader Russian public.
Yep.
The Tsarist regime confined millions of Jews to a specific western region called the Pale of Settlement. The stigmatization: Jews were subjected to quotas in education and barred from certain professions. By legally treating Jews as separate, dangerous class of the people,
Yeah, that's us.
pedophiles,
Yeah,
all that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The state normalized the idea that they were outsiders and threats to the Russian society. And finally, we get to the coup de grace.
Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
The fabrication of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, the tactic in the early 1900s, the Tsarist secret police fabricated an anti-Semitic text known as the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. The narrative, the forged document claimed that the Jews were, wait for it, someone just tried to call me, that the Jews were engaged in secret global conspiracy to take over the world, manipulate economies, and destroy Christian society. This lie was continuously used to blame Jews for Russia's poverty, unrest, and military failures.
Right.
We could go on and on, but the point is, it's all recycled. So how does this bring us to Alexander Dugin? Well, here's the thing. The Russians have traditionally used other Arab nations in the Middle East to try to take out the Jews and then later Israel. Why did they do this?
Really?
Oh,
Why?
yes, this goes way back. Well, why did they do this? First of all, geography. Okay, as long as you have a international group of people come together into one land in 1948, these are ideas that the Russians just can't manipulate because half of them are Russians. Okay,
And these being
the Jews.
Zionism,
No, the Israelis.
Judaism. What are the ideas?
So the ideas are, for instance, when they bought most of the land from the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem in the 30s and early 40s, yes, the land was sold to them by the Palestinians, the original land of Israel, by the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who was in with Hitler. But the thing is, when they settled in there, it was kind of a joke. They're like, yeah, we'll sell them this swampy, crappy land. They can do what they want with it. And they got people from Australia. They got people from everywhere. They're like, yeah, bring in some eucalyptus trees. We'll dry that right out, make it arable. And if you go to Israel today, the land is amazing. But all sorts of things. So different ideas, like these are very worldly. It's a worldly group of people in a rather provincial area in 1948.
So go back to the Russians. I didn't understand that sentence. What do you mean they couldn't wipe out or shape these ideas? Russians couldn't do what to Jews in Israel?
So one thing about Jews that I like, and it drives me crazy at the same time because I'm married to one, is they answer every question with a question. Okay, it's
What
just
do you mean?
It's just like intel analysts in the army. It's like, why do we have to do that? So with Russian propaganda and Russians manipulating a lot of Arab.
The Russians couldn't manipulate the Jews.
They couldn't manipulate the Jews because half of them, again, some of them came from the Russian government.
Right.
And so they're like, yeah, no, we're not. We don't believe you.
Right.
That's not a real text called the Protocols of the Elders of Syria. It was harder. So they've always been in the way of Russian domination of that area.
Right.
Now, flash forward to 2023, October 7th. What was happening in that time? The IMEC, the India Middle East Corridor Agreement, was about to be signed between Saudi Arabia, Israel, India, and the United States. This is during the Joe Biden regime. That was set to be signed on October 15th of 2023. They had met on September 29th, 2023 to do that. What is that? That was a trading route, rail route, everything that would go right to the Mediterranean. India, Saudi was on board with it. It was great for them, gave Saudi a nice overland route for oil. Okay, and then October 7th happens. The whole thing gets scuttled. Saudi was also going to get some nukes from Biden as well.
Oh, wow.
And the whole thing got scuttled. After that, the Belt and Road was able to commence as is, which they've been trying to this day, but then of course Trump came in and with his unipolar plan, which I'm all for, and started blowing up rail lines and everything in Iran and parts of India with their help. But the point is, it messed up a trading route. What was in the way of
For
that?
the Russians.
For the Russians in cahoots with China. Because,
So
again,
what's Dugin doing in America? We only have 8
so what's
minutes
Dugin
left.
doing in America? So Dugin has a view of the world called the multipolar vision of the world.
And you've got to wrap this up with what happened
Yep.
in Kentucky, please.
Yes, so the fourth political theory, I think he calls it, is his book that came out where he talks about his vision of the world.
Dugin.
Dugin,
And who is
Alexander Dugin is the son of very high-ranking intelligentsia in Russia, generals in the intelligence, everything like that. He started as a cultist. He actually gave a eulogy at Aleister Crowley's memorial.
What?
Yeah. And then he became a philosopher. He's been featured on Tucker Carlson, all the usual suspects. But anyways, he actually said, we have to have a multipolar vision of the world. There'll be a sphere over here called North America, there'll be South America, there'll be Middle East, there'll be South Asia, there'll be Eurasia. And we will each control one of these spheres equally, okay, and not bother each other. Now, a lot of Americans have gotten on board with this. That's where the isolationism comes in. They're like, that sounds pretty good, man. We're sick of foreign wars, spending all this money. Here's the problem. Think of the other polar leaders.
Right.
Russia, China, was supposed to be Iran. That didn't quite work out. Was supposed to be in Venezuela. But it would have been Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela, and then us. And we're all going to leave each other alone. They're not going to gang up on us. Here's the problem. There's a guy named Primakov that came before Dugin, a high-ranking guy in the KGB. This is actually called the Primakov Doctrine, which is a way to take out America by getting them to cede power.
Oh.
Okay, and then they gang up on us. It's the Primakov Doctrine.
So how are they getting these MAGA voices to, and what's the role of anti-Semitism and in this?
So anti-Semitism, basically what happens, the problem with Israel is not just Israel. The problem with Israel is Jordan. The problem with Israel is Saudi Arabia. The problem with Israel is the Gulf states. They're all friends. They all trade. They all make money. That's the thing. And they cannot, the Russians and the Chinese cannot get a good deal for their Belt and Road and also for their oil as long as the Israelis are there providing us a forward place to deploy from.
So get Americans to hate Israel.
Get Americans to hate Israel, get investigations going against AIPAC, which is an American PAC.
That's true.
Because these are Israeli Americans,
Yes.
okay? And then all of a sudden you cow people into not donating. A lot of money for Israel comes from civilians.
So then you drain support for
You
Israel.
drain support, and then
Israel
the
can be
next
taken
weaker
out.
candidate, every candidate after Trump may be a little, unless it's Rubio, is going to be weak, and they will even run on the fact that we're going to defund
Right,
Israel.
right.
You defund Israel, guess who owns the Middle East? It ain't the Arabs, okay? It's the
China.
Russians and the
Oh
Chinese.
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And so that's where the anti-Semitism comes in now. But this goes back so long. Like even King Edward I, he abandoned a bunch of Jews on a sandbar
Right.
after his wars were done, and he borrowed a ton of money from them. But rather than pay them back, he figured he'd just drown them.
I love how
Okay.
you're like still so upset about ancient.
I'm upset because people are so stupid. It's like, I don't have a degree in history. I just read. If something doesn't make sense, I read. I just don't. One thing, I'll land the plane here. One thing I cannot stand is when people say, oh, well, you know, Tony Squeaker Grips, he wrote that and he's got a really good Substack. I'm like, just like we said in consulting, you are only as good as your last job. And with Massie coming back to Kentucky, people need to realize, and I think the people of Kentucky did realize, yeah, you might have done a lot of good things for COVID, and he's done a lot of good things in many areas. But the thing is, what are you doing now? And what you're doing now is not supporting our president at a time when we are engaged in a very critical conflict that affects all of our lives and will make the world better. Go back to my episodes and see why. Okay. Instead, you chose this time to undermine the president. And let me
Right.
tell you something about Kentuckians. The Kentuckians, if that's the way you call them, the people I knew, my neighbors, were loyal to America.
Oh, bless
Okay?
them.
And you know who else is loyal to America, in my opinion, is Donald Trump.
Oh, I thought you were
Okay.
going to say Jews. Yeah.
Donald Trump, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the Jews, look, a lot of Jews are loyal to America, a lot of Jews are loyal to Israel, a lot of Jews are loyal to both.
It's not a contradiction.
I'm not saying it is.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, but every Jewish person, every Orthodox Jewish person I know in the Chabad, they're the ones that are, helping the impoverished communities, and they're the ones donating to veterans, and they're the ones that even provided Tom Holman his security before he became ICE director because he had so many cartel threats. That was provided by Chabad because the U.S. government could not provide it. So when people are like, hey, the Jews are undermining this, look, they don't feel that way. They just think that way because they're stupid. And honestly, I don't think Ryan Matta is stupid. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And part of me thinks it's just in the back of my mind. I have no facts for this, but it hit me. Like, I've met him. I've ridden in the truck with him. We were doing the immigration thing for Jay's video. He's a sharp guy. He knows media. And the thing is, it's getting him tons of views to wear this Nazi stuff. But wouldn't it be crazy if Matta was working for either the Israelis or the Democrats?
But he's not.
No, he's not. He's not. But what I'm saying is, think about what his association, and in my opinion, Matta's association with that campaign really hurt that campaign. Now, it's kind of like Survivor Island. If you ever watch that show, you take people out, so there's 2 left at the end. Now, Trump's not going to run again for president.
Oh,
okay.
No, don't do that, yeah.
No, so Trump's not going to run again. So you're going to have some strong, who would be the strongest candidates running? Rubio, okay, and Massie.
Right.
These would be strong candidates. And then whoever the Democrats put forward. Now,
What about Vance?
well, Vance will be running, but I like Rubio better. But anyways, so Massie would be a threat to both center-right Republicans and also center-left Democrats. So why not send someone in to very overtly show the Nazi symbol and the Reich stuff to torpedo Massie? So he's not in the running for the... Now, he can run, but without all that free publicity of being a congressperson, how's he going to do it? And then...
Wait, are you saying... I mean, this is a big hypothetical. Are you saying Ryan Matta is a stealth agent to derail Massie? And actually, can I jump in?
Ryan Matta's a consultant. Go
Let me
ahead.
jump in. Una Treem, I think she corrected me, nicely, said that she sees Nick Fuentes as kind of a stealth agent to get Jews to leave the U.S. out of fear.
I mean, I don't think anyone would pay for that one. I mean, respectfully, you're a very intelligent person. I know you. We know you. I would say this. Think of it like business, okay, influencers. Don't think of ideology when you're thinking of these people. Think of contracts and deliverables. So the way this works with influencers, because I've done influence contracts for, clearing the way for businesses to set up in a certain country. You get hired by a marketing firm. They say, hey, we really want to push this message. Sign this statement of work saying that you won't violate any laws or our ethics. You sign it. You do whatever you want anyways. They know that. And you have to deliver so many followers, so many impressions, so many things like that. There's a whole bunch of people, especially with the tanking of our economy during Biden, who will do anything for money because it's a contract.
But you're not making the claim that we could get sued for that Ryan Matta is working for someone who's trying
I'm not
to
saying he's
derail.
working for anyone. I'm just spitballing here.
Right.
But what I am saying is he doesn't seem that emotionally bothered about any of the losses that he's had. And he's had many. He's called everything that I could see wrong. He doesn't seem that bothered by it. He seems almost exhilarated the way you feel like when you get that big bonus check.
Wow.
So...
Well, on that note...
And again,
Sally,
that's just a theory.
it's a really interesting theory because as a former political consultant, when you said that, I have to admit, I could see a fantastic anti-Massie political ad for 2028, which is just the Nazi symbol,
It's there.
the T-shirt,
It's there.
and then the picture of Ryan Matta with
But not
Massie
only Ryan
in his
Matta,
home.
but a room full of white people in a very, very palatial house, okay, and saying, Tom, I could see the voice, the gray voice.
Well,
Tom
it is-
Massie doesn't
yeah.
care about your neighbors, and then they're going to show black faces, brown
Right.
faces, and white faces
Right.
working together.
Right.
He only cares about the Nazis.
Neo-Nazis, that's right. It's a fantastic
From
campaign
out of
ad.
state.
And it's very interesting you say that because I remember how odd it seemed that Ryan Matta was saying, if that was Ryan Matta, we're here in Tom Massie's home. Remember he said that? Like very deliberately. Like we're here in Representative Massie's home. Like, like
Oh, and he was
setting it
all up in that home, too. He's in his bathroom showing off Tom Massie's, that big orange grease.
So
the
inappropriate.
grease like soap that mechanic.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, check this out, man. Here's his grease soap,
so
whatever.
gross.
If you got to vote for him because he does man stuff. I'm like,
Ew.
okay, dude. Look, even the guys with the man breasts on like the soap opera commercials do man stuff. Everyone's got to change their oil and stuff like that. But he's like
God.
crouching and like pointing at his soap. It's just so weird.
That is bizarre, unless, as you say, the goal is to derail Massie. That's really interesting.
Well, I think, yeah, you're right, and that's a good point you make, because it's almost like he wanted to show how much access he had.
How I'm the neo-Nazi in the bathroom.
And these people
I'm the neo-Nazi
overtly-
handling his soap.
And you got to see, like, in listening to the spaces,
Mm-hmm.
what will happen is, like, last night, Matta did a space,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets them all spun up. It was Israel, it was this, and China's great. He's always touting China, too.
Mm-hmm.
China's great. China lifted all their people out of poverty. You know, they lowered the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, and then he gets them all spun up. He's like, all right, guys, I'm out. Boom, he's gone.
Right.
Yep.
All right, well, that's super provocative. We've kind of done a 180, but I like where we got to. Who knows? Like, it is super suggestive.
I think Massie got played, man.
I think he may have gotten played.
He could have gotten played by Ro Khanna.
You know, both witting and unwitting assets, as you would say. I think a lot of people who
Let me just point this one last thing out. His supporters are people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson,
his who.
Massie's supporters on the higher end, people like Dan Blazarian, Sean Ryan, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. Many of these people, I won't say that about Tucker, but because he's more clever than that. But like Blazarian and Candace, they've said things that would get most people banned from YouTube for life.
Right.
None of them are banned from
True.
YouTube.
So this
That
could
to-
all be a Democrat play to derail the Republicans'
Who-
best
who-
candidates.
who
that
got-
that makes sense. That's
Who
the
got
first thing you
upstaged?
said.
Who got upstaged by him? Who got upstaged by Massie?
Sweetie, when you say him,
Baby, I'm
please
trying to
always
get
say
there.
who you're
I'm
talking
trying to get
about.
there.
It's so hard to
If you Jewish
follow.
people weren't so impatient, you know, us goy could like get our thoughts out. You're always trying to control our sentences
Goy is
and
singular.
stuff,
Okay.
and our worlds.
I know, trying
you
to control your world.
Anyways, so no, Ro Khanna.
What's your point?
Okay, so they were sailing together in the Epstein
They
release.
who?
I just said it, Ro Khanna and Massie.
You were also talking about Ryan Matta.
Ro Khanna and
all these-
Massie.
okay.
Ro Khanna and
Okay,
Massie.
Thank you.
Ro Khanna and
thank
Massie.
You, thank you.
They're sailing together.
That's
They're writing
weird.
bills together.
That's weird.
They're fighting Epstein together.
Wow.
They're talking about the Epstein class. Then all of a sudden, what happens? Everyone's talking about Massie. No one's talking about Ro Khanna. Okay. Everyone's talking about hey, maybe Massie and Ro Khanna for 2028. Ro Khanna as the VP. Maybe Ro Khanna's got his own aspirations. And you've been, you know what jealousy does
Yeah.
on the Democratic side. Tell
Yeah.
a little, just kind of underline that for me.
What's your point?
What is your experience of jealousy
I
in
mean,
the
they're-
Democratic Party?
They're murderous
But you had it
criminals.
yourself.
Well, I'm not sure where you're going.
So you're working for a guy, and I don't want to say too much, but basically there was someone who was jealous of the attention and the access you had.
Oh, Democrats. Yeah, they can create circular firing squads or
Like they will
their
take
own
out their
people.
own,
They'll take
right?
out their own. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but strategically, not like Republicans who
that was
just.
pretty strategic.
Yeah, no, okay, I get what you're saying.
You see?
But you mean they had an ally and they took him out? They sent the neo-Nazis to surround him, and they.
You will know I'm right if Ro Khanna all of a sudden starts getting a lot of TV time and starts talking very presidentially.
Oh.
You'll know I'm right.
That you're saying Ro Khanna could have been jealous of Massie.
Ro Khanna doesn't want to be the VP on that ticket.
He doesn't have to be.
And think about it, it'd be a good play. Ro Khanna runs, and then he pulls Massie in. So you're going to get the center, left, and right, and then all the Dems if Ro Khanna runs.
But that doesn't explain why they would have taken out Massie by surrounding him. with
Because you have to
neo-Nazis.
pummel him down so he's not the presidential candidate. They
Oh,
want him
as
the
a
VP.
vice president.
Yep.
He's still got the neo-Nazi baggage.
That's okay. They're about to elect a Nazi in Maine. The Democrats, they don't care about Nazis if they're Democratic Nazis.
Oh, so you're saying co-opt him for the Democrats?
Absolutely.
That's a psycho, but
I mean, he's a
oddly
libertarian
tantalizing
anyways.
idea.
He's kind of right on the cusp. So, and I used
Wow.
to be a libertarian, so.
All right. Well, I'm so sorry.
All right, so
time
remember,
flies.
mark it. look for Ro Khanna getting a lot more attention from MSNBC, CNN, and then
Lots of comments.
you're going to watch Ro Khanna take the lead on the Epstein argument, okay, and anything related to Epstein. And you're also going to see Ro Khanna, and I could be wrong, take the lead on things like glyphosates, chemtrails. These are all the issues that group, and these are important issues, but that group really focuses on. And just if you want to see where the narrative comes from, the originating narrative, don't follow him, but keep an eye on Alexander Dugin of Russia, okay? And you'll see a lot of the stuff that the MAGA Reich, as we call them, are recycling originates with Dugin.
Interesting. So lots of fascinating comments. Weird that all those people are America First. Maybe they're just a threat to AIPAC's stranglehold on our government. I'm America First too, and I guess what I want to say about this notion of AIPAC's stranglehold on our government is our aid to Israel is a lot, but it's
3.8 billion.
3.8 billion, but it's less than
17.3.
Ukraine, Egypt, I believe.
Egypt's 1.9.
Pakistan.
Well, Pakistan on the record is really low, but I do know Pakistan was getting 18 billion a year from the U.S. government since 2001.
Right. So
there's a reason why they never raised holy hell when Obama invaded their territory to kill Osama bin Laden.
So my point is there are many bigger checks being written, and no one ever says, hey, we've got to, get rid of Ukraine's stranglehold on our government. Some people say it. And I guess the other thing you've convinced me of, and I am America First, is that it is America First to appreciate Israel as an ally, because we would be up against a united, fundamentalist, Islamist, nuclear-armed bloc in the Middle East if it weren't for our ally Israel, our little tiny ally Israel. That's my view.
And not to mention our ally Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
our ally Jordan.
Yes.
I trained the Jordanians, our ally
They're
Oman,
awesome.
our ally Qatar, our allies in the UAE.
Yeah.
Like no one ever talks about that.
No, it's true. We
Okay?
need those allies.
But you know why?
Why? Because they're not Jews.
No, because Jews look like Americans.
So?
You can say bad things about people that look like you
Oh.
and not be called a racist.
We used to be considered non-white. That changed. In the 20s, we were not considered white.
Sorry.
No, I'm just
But
saying,
I
like,
hear you, yeah.
cultural divisions are so ridiculous because they change all the time. Baby, this
I
is
do
what-
wonder if that's why. When did they start? And I'm Catholic, by the way, so don't hate me. When did they start painting Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes? You know what I'm talking about? Whoever. Like, you ever see these pictures of Jesus Christ and he's got kind of sandy
That's a
colored
famous
hair?
20th century lithograph.
It'd be interesting to see when that started and why.
Oh. Yeah, he looked pretty Jewy in most
He
representations.
did, and
up
then
until
all of a
that
sudden
point.
he kind of
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah.
Brad Pitt
Master
with the beard.
race.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Brad Pitt with the beard. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, we could go on and on, but our time is over. So there's a couple of things I want to say. A, this has been totally fascinating, and lots of people have joined us and have made really fascinating points. B, you're not dealing with bad skin if you're an adult dealing with acne. You're dealing with an untreated root cause. It starts small, little redness, a few bumps, then it expands. You go through the cycle of doctor appointments and trying product after product with no real relief. Your skin's beautiful, darling. You're not alone. 25% of adults struggle with acne, and more than 14 million Americans battle rosacea. 1 in 10 people suffers from chronic dermatitis or eczema. That's a lot. These are not just cosmetic issues. They itch, burn, and crush confidence. Store-bought treatments only mask symptoms while ignoring bacteria, mites, and inflammation. And many of these treatments have harsh chemicals that cause severe side effects. Clear Skin Ivermectin cream from the Wellness Company is different. This dermatologist-designed prescription formula targets the root cause safely and gently under the skin. Azelaic acid helps clear clogged pores and brightens skin. Ivermectin targets Demodex mites and reduces inflammation. Mites on your skin. Metronidazole helps control bacterial overgrowth and it calms irritation. Stop guessing. Get Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream and transform your skin back to normal. Go to dailyclouthealth.com. Again, that's dailyclouthealth.com and use code DAILYCLOUT and you will save $20 plus get free shipping.
Let's not forget the wellness company. They're the company that like literally provided, they kind of pioneered the parallel economy for medication.
They did, it's true.
And things you need. Peter McCullough, Harvey Risch, the CEO Peter Galuli, and they're and they're constantly coming up with new stuff. You've seen, you definitely go to their site and check out their articles on cancer with ivermectin mixes. It's amazing. And I think there's a lot more of these skin rashes happening since the vaccine.
The vaccine, I mean, one of the most surprising but prevalent side effects are skin problems. Another one is eye problems, things you didn't expect. You're absolutely right. So we've always been so happy with everything we've tried from the wellness company. So I definitely am recommending that to my loved ones who deal with skin problems and which are rampant now. Eczema since the vaccine is rampant. All right. In addition, there's something else I want to tell you about. You've probably heard the headlines by now. RFK Jr.'s pharma audit team has been digging into some uncomfortable questions about common medications, including claims around Tylenol and neurological damage. Now, regardless of where you happen to be on that debate, this is something that should give everyone pause. Multiple studies have raised concerns about acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, and its effect on something called glutathione. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It protects your cells, your brain, and your nervous system from damage. And when glutathione levels drop, your nerves don't fire the way they should. Signals weaken, repair slows down, and that's when people start feeling burning, tingling, numbness, the kind of nerve pain that quietly takes over daily life. The bigger issue is that Tylenol isn't the only thing that drains antioxidants from your body. So do ultra-processed foods, environmental toxins, chemicals in hygiene products, plastics that we use every single day. All of it adds up. And most solutions for nerve pain, pills, creams, TENS machines, and so on, they try to mask the pain, but they don't replace what your nerves are actually missing. The good news, there are specific minerals naturally occurring straight from the earth that help restore nerve strength, protect nerve cells, and calm that constant buzzing, burning, and numbness. If you scan the QR code that's going to be under this video or go to myprimal.life/outspoken nerve, you'll find out exactly what those minerals are and how they work and why.
Outspoken blood.
And what? No, sweetheart. This is Outspoken Nerve.
Well, this is outspoken.
That's the next ad, which I'm not reading. I'm going to say that again. myprimal.life/outspoken nerve to find out exactly what those minerals are, how they work, and why some people call them miracle grow for your nerves. Because when your nerves get what they need, they don't just calm down, they power back up.
Okay, so
Brian
I spent a lot of time on
it.
this site because I like investigating all of our sponsors, and I've chased a few off, as you know. But these guys are great. So the reason it's called miracle grow for your nerves, the way it was explained, the way I understand it, is you got your nerves, right? They're all kind of like, and when they're full of like the antioxidants and the energy and the life, when you're young, they're like branches hanging out there. You got a very small synapse.
Yes.
So you're firing on all cylinders. This is why this solution actually gets rid of brain fog, makes you sharper as well. Because what happens as you get old, and it's almost like if you take nutrients away from plants, what happens? They become brittle, less pliant. That's where the pain comes from. This finds a way to not only get those nutrients, it's not only getting the nutrients there, but it's directing other nutrients to your nerves. So I'm not saying it reverses the aging process of your nerves. I will say it's literally giving your nerves the nutrients they're being denied by these other outside forces.
That's really interesting.
Very much like the lemon tree in our backyard when we planted it too close to the swamp.
Right.
They started choking out. What this does is like pushing all that out and getting it into your nerves. And what's great about that is not only will your motor functions improve, but your thinking improves too.
I love it.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
Did you notice that I've been sitting here for like an hour and 20 minutes without a lot of discomfort? And that wouldn't have happened earlier.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
No, it really makes a big difference. So that's myprimal.life/outspoken nerve, and highly recommended. Darling, we've come to the end of our time. We have to let these nice people go. How do you get more interviews and commentary like this? Go to Daily Clout and subscribe or donate. Make a one-time donation, please. You get the media you support. It's that basic. And go over to Substack, to Outspoken. That's my Substack. Subscribe, please. We have more and more and more free subscribers, fewer and fewer and fewer paying subscribers. If it reaches a certain threshold, we're not going to be able to cover our costs. We won't be able to do this anymore. So we really do need you to support us over there. And darling, where do they find you?
You can find me at Brian O'Shea, SPI, on X, or Real Brian O'Shea, because I got hacked, so I've got 2 accounts now. And then also on Investigate Everything on Rumble. You'll find me if you go to dailyclout.io. And then of course brianocshea.substack.com. Check out my latest on the Cambridge shooter. There's a lot going on there that they're trying to bury, and I've uncovered a lot. Me and my reluctant investigator, my 14-year-old. I want to give one last word, then I can let you see us out. But I was really moved this morning by Rabbi Manis Friedman and your interview with him.
Thank you.
But he said something really amazing about, like, people always pray to God for things.
Yeah.
And they never say to God, what can I do for you? And then he ended that with saying, remember, just because you're praying, or something like, you're not needy, but you're needed by God.
That's nice.
This is not a religious show, but and I'm not a religious guy, but I was really moved by that. So check out that interview.
It is so
Naomi
good.
conducted it today, and you can find that over on our Rumble channel.
Yes, and on Daily Clout.
And on Daily
And
Clout.
on
And we're here in
Outspoken.
Brooklyn too, so we're at the rabbi's house, which was a real honor.
That was such an honor. Baby, we've got to say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. We'll probably see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us on In the Lair. We're in the lair.
In the lair.
In the lair. Outro.
Outro.
Bye-bye, everyone.